Welcome back to Mortal Kombat Deception. So now that Scorpion's gone off. Oh, never mind. There he is.
That's right. Scorpion went off so that we can completely break the canon of Mortal Kombat.
That's the thing, Java is just chilling there.
Remember, Tio, in the last part, Scorpion's not going to confront Quan Chi way before he should actually even know that Quan Chi's a player in all this.
So why aren't the whispers coming in to straighten the timeline?
Speaking of Quan Chi, it's because Chronica is more powerful than that dude.
Like I said, my like I said, my canon is that that's why Chronica rebooted the timeline, because she realized that the original one was starting to get ridiculous.
Out of control, yeah. These movements, man.
Okay.
And again, it's but much like before, it's you taking the semblance of the person that is fighting.
Again, was it really that hard for them to just, not have it be Shujinko you're playing as?
I know, right? I don't understand. I get the feeling they just went with, they programmed it so that every time there's a battle, that happens, but they didn't bother programming in exceptions for when it shouldn't happen. Again, the Conquest mode clearly shows that it was rushed. Fortunately, like I said, the Armageddon Conquest mode is much better.
But the Conquest mode of this is what we're talking about. I bet this story can basically just be summed up as, look at how many ways Shujinko can make a jackass out of himself.
Basically, yeah.
I'm kind of amazed by the fact that Scorpion is a traditional kunai attack, in this case still with a rope, not with a chain, is now an actual projectile instead of a grabbing move.
Alright, there you go.
Also, I get it that this is Neverend, but did we really need to hear the screaming of the eternal damned souls in the background?
Well, it's Netherrealm. I mean... Isn't that kind of the whole thing with hell? The damned souls all screaming in pain and shit like that?
That's what I mean. But like, did we really need to hear that necessary? It can be a bit distracting with the other mix. Okay.
That's it.
That's it. In the meantime, here are Drummond and Moloch. Also, to be fair, do we know for sure if by the time this is taking place, it's already after Mortal Kombat 4? Because it might just be.
Yeah, yeah, going off of the time date and from what you have told me, yes.
So, it makes sense. It's in Mortal Kombat 4 that Scorpion learns that it was Quan Chi. That's
the thing. That's the thing, though. It wasn't Shujinko who told him back then.
Yeah, it was Sub-Zero. Yeah, true.
So even if this was taking place during that, this still wrecks the canon in that regard.
True.
Well, I mean, this game takes place 6 years from now, so yeah.
Remember, Dwibs, it starts before the first Mortal Kombat. And Pedro, here's the problem. The whole Scorpion thing doesn't happen too long after Shujinko's little talk with Raiden, which is definitely before the first Mortal Kombat because of how Raiden's acting. So unless a whole ton of years happened in between that, magically, this is still happening before the first Mortal Kombat. Like I said, amazingly, this game may have actually made more of a mess of the canon than, well, the bad Mortal Kombat.
And now, Jova, now you know why Armageddon, its entire modus operandi, was to reboot the whole goddamn thing.
I wonder, do you guys think it was a wise thing to reboot it, or maybe they should have just tried to fix things before heading for the reboot button?
Well, it was also more so because Jova. Oh, hold on.
I encountered a ninja specter named Scorpion, from whom I absorbed much rage.
Well done. You may leave the Nether.
Thank you, Damashi. I do not wish to remain another moment longer.
Okay.
Okay then.
Go then.
It also has to do, Jova, with considering how many plot lines and characters there are at this point. It's getting to a point where it's just becoming very newcomer friendly.
It's not even that. It's not even that. Remember, the lore, while getting updated, already with this game started getting very confusing. You know, despite them trying to, enrich it, for lack of a better term. So I get the idea why they wanted to do a clean slate.
Wait, updating the law at this point. We might as well be updating the law's autopsy report. It's dead all over the place.
Oh, you need our assistance, Raiden?
To help you, do not hesitate to ask. My time in the Netherrealm is concluded.
Shang Tsung has allied with another sorcerer, Quan Chi.
Oh, and now we're in
there you
the
go.
time of Deadly Alliance.
Oh, there you go. Now we're in the time of Deadly Alliance. There you go. So I guess that was the idea.
When the heck did this time skip happen? Like,
And remember when Shujinko trained with Nightwolf? The problem is that again he was supposed to participate in the Mortal Kombat tournament, but we skipped that. We didn't see that happening.
not only that, but Nightwolf is supposed to be a part of certain things going on in between all that time. So
Yeah, true.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Specifically 3, to be fair. It was only in 3. It wasn't in 4, and he wasn't in Deadly Alliance. So
And like I said, this is not helped by the fact that Shujinko is the only one who apparently ages. And going off of how he looks now compared to how he looked when this started, you think that this whole adventure has been going for over like 60 years or something.
Okay,
with how
okay.
old he looks.
Okay, I don't remember if it's stated outright, but if I recall correctly, in some realms time flows differently, which would not be too much of a stretch to put it up. And again, Netherrealm is supposed to be the equivalent of hell, so again, time shenanigans can happen. But let me see if I can actually find a concrete statement.
Here's the problem: not explained in the game from what we've seen so far.
again, like I said, this is why after Armageddon, John Vogel took a back step from being the script writing, and now he's just a story writer and allows other writers to write the scripts.
Not only that, but even still, some characters who are human, who we meet apparently years later, still look fine. So what's that excuse then?
I don't know, Jova. This is one of those cases of. Hold on.
Oh, okay, no.
Stop where you are. Is there a problem, sir? Name's
I don't remember you being an Australian, mate.
The movie happened.
People really liked me in the movie, so now I'm basically doing the movie thing.
Yeah, but your Aussie accent's horrible.
And if I refuse, do you really think you can combat us all?
You have to hear more of my accent.
Okay, to be fair, this is kind of in character. The idea that the Black Dragon clan severely overestimate themselves and, punctually get their asses handed to them.
But don't you see, Tio, the Red Dragon are where it's at, yo.
Sure.
Black Dragons are just a bunch of posers, mooching off the Red Dragon's real fame. And did that ever really work with the fan base?
Nope.
No.
Nobody cares a crap about the Red Dragon. Hell, even when it comes to the Black Dragon, people don't only really care about Kano, really.
And Cabal, to an extent.
Yeah, Kano and Cabal, that's true, yeah. Kano and Cabal, really.
Eric is just good for a chuckle, and Swao, no.
No. Alright, so...
Yeah, remember when
so
Dirk was
Kano...
gonna be the new lead of the Black Dragon?
Sure, absolutely. There was also that character we already forgot the name, which in 4 was supposed to become the new
Thanks for telling me
Shogun.
that. So yeah, Kano just told us to do something for him. However, here's what we're going to do. We're going to completely ignore him, and we're going to try to find Li Mei, who happens to be around here, and we're going to train with her.
Remember, if I recall correctly, she was involved in the construction of the palace in the Alliance.
There she is.
You are not from this town.
And she's sporting a new outfit, it seems.
Why have you been enslaved here?
Why am I not surprised?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I was gonna say, why not?
Nothing wrong with that.
And already starting with 10 characters having different outfits became more accessible, so that too.
Well, let's not forget, we technically have done it with Shujinko already, as his...
Okay, I'm not sure if this is much of an improvement over the one of Deadly Alliance. The pirate bandana feels odd. Like,
but I intend to use the tournament as a way to get closer to them. I will attack.
Which tournament are we even talking
this-
about?
The fifth one, the Alliance one.
What makes you think you can defeat them both?
Yeah, that's the thing, honestly. I mean,
I am not ready
I feel like
to
this would have been better if they did a better job marking
Yeah.
where we are on the timeline every bit of now and then. Like,
Yeah.
throw in some Easter eggs. Like, there's nothing wrong with having fan service if it helps us, gauge where we are in time. Like, it feels like this game was afraid that if it showed too many Easter eggs, people would accuse it of nostalgia shilling.
I believe that course of action will end in misfortune.
Whereas it tries to be part
Also,
of the timeline,
thanks
but
for having that cutscene which, really focus on her ass.
Alright, so
probably accidental.
time for some more training. Indeed. Louis He Ba Fa. That's the first one of her martial art style.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also, this music.
yeah, in this pose. I mean, look at that. Like, does that look like a
Li
good?
Mei once fought a Tarkatan this big.
Yeah, like
He looks like he's surfing, hanging 10.
Dude.
I mean, seriously, that's not a fighting position. That's
Like I said,
Everybody's gone surfing the upper realm.
yeah, basically.
yeah. Like I said, that's a surfing pose.
I mean, compare this to something like Goku's fighting pose, where he has that hand with the fingers and that, the one, right? No, that makes sense because he has his fist in front of him, meaning he's ready to use it at any point. Whereas this fighting position doesn't really allow.
Again, that's the thing. Silly stances are technically a thing of some martial arts. Again, like the drunken fist. Or the flamingo for the taekwondo, the one that Juri Han uses for Street Fighter. I just don't recognize this one if it's an actual thing or not.
No.
Maybe it is, and we just don't know.
Regardless,
I mean-
go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No,
Go on.
Regardless, the idea is that she wants to, of course, like we said in Mortal Kombat Alliance, she's gonna try to win the tournament so she can do her own goals. And right now we're training so we can help her, so prepare
There we go.
for the tournament, basically.
The Liu He Ba Fa is actually a martial art.
Oh, so there you go. It turns out that is actually a legit martial arts pose.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure if it is because there aren't that many images standing around it. But yeah, it's an actual thing. Although I wonder if it's misspelled intentionally because the real name is Liu He Ba Fa, while the one that this game uses is Louis He Ba Fa.
Now the second one,
Probably
Mizong.
Maybe a copyright thing. I don't know.
I doubt it will be a copyright thing.
Who knows, honestly. In the world of copyright, there's a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think would be copywritten, but is.
Mm-hmm. You mean kind of like how the Fine Birth had to copyright the word react?
Kinda. Yeah, this next one is also based on the Mijongi. There you go. Yeah, I get the idea that the team did some kind of research for some of these. It's not too uncommon. Fighting games around this time, between stuff like, say, Tekken, Virtua Fighter, and to an extent also Street Fighter, they were starting to build a bit up, in terms of actually representing fighting styles of characters who actually genuinely use them instead of, just having random moves. Those are still a thing technically, but if a character actually did had a particular fighting style that is used, IRL, we were trying to stay also close to it.
Mm-hmm. Kunlun Dao.
I think, Graves, you will like Virtua Fighter 5 because it introduced an actual Rey Mysterio-like character, so that uses a lot of wrestling moves.
Is that one that came out on PS4 recently?
It got re-released recently, yes.
I got that from PlayStation Plus.
You should give it a try. There is a lot of room for training and all.
I'll remember too, like if you play the campaign, the new Mortal Kombat games in the easiest
I was talking about Virtua Fighter 5 with Waves.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Alright.
Also,
And now, what?
no, it was like the stance with the sword. I'm pretty sure this one is a bit more out.
You know, I'm starting to realize why Li Mei lost the tournament and died, because...
And poor Li Mei, again, her backstory is tragic on her own. Never had a joy in her life and was a slave most of it, and still could not succeed in anything. That's kinda sad. Let me see if the comic line gave her a bit more dignity at the very least. Usually
you gotta look at the comics, canon to the games. The
okay,
comics,
that's
not
the weird
canon
thing,
to the
Joe.
games.
The comics of Mortal Kombat take inspiration from events that happen in the game, but they just do their own thing because they just are not compatible with events that happen in the actual game.
The only comic book that I know of, at least that's canon to the games, is the original one that was made by John Tobias, that tells the story of the original Kung Lao. That part of that celebration during during a later release of the original arcade game.
Wait, she had a cameo in MKX? I forgot.
She does too, but it's a very minor one. Well, remember that chick.
She's the one that gives Milene, I think, the amulet with Shinnok.
Yes. Remember too, that woman from Mythologies also shows up in 10. So there you go. Excellent. Alright, special moves can turn a seemingly inevitable defeat into a surprise victory. That is true, but trust me, just that on its own won't...
So what is this range attack? It's like the most pathetic Hadouken I've ever seen.
Oh, this one was taught to her by Master Boraicho, so let's see what it is.
Yeah, the kick in the groin makes sense.
That Boraicho taught you that?
I guess his no-nonsense fight style might work on that. It seems to be a bit more elegant than the just, the nut puncher that Johnny Cage does. So there is that.
But you still have one left to master, and that is the flipping heel kick.
Tolerate this music. That's the final challenge.
Come back then, please. Okay.
I mean, yeah, your score for Mortal Kombat Special Forces was pretty bad, but it was one misfire. Did you think we are the Sonic fan base?
How interesting. Also, thanks for the taunt.
Alright. And now...
So, basically just like the other trainings, again, you just need to put to practice what you've learned.
Yes.
Again, I get what this conquest mode is trying to do, but admittedly, it is kind of a pace breaker just for the sake of learning how the other characters play.
The primary goal is to basically do both. Both versions, like have the backstory of how things came to be how they are in the tournament, and at the same time give a tutorial. Problem is, they should have designed this structured this a bit better.
It also hinders replayability.
I thank you for the gift, Li Mei.
What is this, Pyro now?
Confrontation with the sorcerers is not necessary. I know of someone who might help to free your village. His name is Hotaru. He once saved the walled city of Lei Chen from the Tarkatan hordes.
You know, Shujinko, you're already probably abusing Otaru's goodwill a bit too much at this point.
Not to mention, Orderrealm sure cares about the rule and everything, but I'm not sure it's the best place to send an ex-slave victim.
Goodbye, Li Mei.
Alright.
Hey.
So yeah,
Sorry, bro.
now that we've trained with Li Mei, let's get out of this Outworld and leave Kano to his to whatever he's doing. I mean, we could stop him, maybe, but then again...
Shujinko has the brain capacity of a potato, because you haven't noticed.
Not to mention doing that will mess with the timeline even more, so best just to go.
Again, does Shujinko actually succeed at this rate? It seems like he has failed more than anything.
And that's the thing, Joe, the only goal that we really are having here is just to collect the MacGuffin from each realm. So aside from everything else is optional.
Oh god, don't tell me this is like Hunt Down the Freeman, where we're doing all this complex stuff just to have one simplistic thing for the actual main heroes to do.
It's kind of what's happening. Our actions are, preparing the terrain for the other characters because we're so special.
Hey, Otaru, could you help me out?
Hotaru, it is good to see.
Get a script, Doctor.
You were to go forward when the toll sounded.
Ordnance? I just recently arrived. I had no knowledge of any ordnance.
Ignorance is not an excuse.
Jesus!
Dwebs, did you suddenly take over and write this bit?
Wait.
Well,
did I miss something? What?
Yes.
Otaru is placing under arrest.
Yeah, so Otaru decided to... There you go.
Rod told you, Shujinko remained imprisoned awaiting his trial until he was finally brought to a holding cell. His day in court had arrived.
Yes.
Court is now in session for the trial of Shujinko.
Not just that, you are... So let me get this... Okay, so here's what... So what happened to it? Since Shujinko has been messing with the fucking timeline, you decided to just, arrest him on the charges of screwing up the chronology.
There you go, they keep him in jail for all this fucking time. He gets old.
And there you go, Joe, but this is how he actually looks like in the arcade mode.
We shall see.
What am I looking at?
60...
Miyagi,
according to Ed Boon in the behind the scenes videos, Jova, 60-year-old Shujinko. He's 60 at this point.
So, wait, hold on. 60 years. Okay, so yeah, so there obviously must have been some time shenanigans that aged him up, but still...
Well, remember, there was that one bit where we went into the time piss pool, and that aged us up quite a lot, so maybe that's where things got fucked.
So, if I understand correctly, for their new character, they wanted him to be older and I guess wiser, but for some reason they had him start off way younger, so they had to come up with all these time shenanigans to make him this old. Like, okay, it seems that he has not gained wisdom with all that age.
Well, Jova, you can only gain wisdom if wisdom is given. Everybody in this story mode is a fucking moron, so...
Well, honestly, no, like, for all Raiden's bluster, at least he gets the message that, okay, something's up with Mortal Kombat. And hey, when it comes to Melina and Shao Kahn, they're pretty much taking advantage of Shingoku's stupidity to help further their own. As for Baraka... Baraka was always stupid. Like, honestly, if anything, it's people just profiting off of Shinjuku's idiocy more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're having another new character, Dairo, and it's another uninteresting guy.
How nice.
It's another native of Orderrealm, but it seems to have a
Again,
more of the head on his shoulders than Hotaru.
It's exactly because of this, Joe. They're putting way too many characters, and as a result, it's starting to get really crowded and full of uninteresting filler characters. Which
It's
is,
also
and like I said,
focus,
that's why I'm looking. Don't worry, you'll have a laugh when we get to the opening movie of Armageddon, because Armageddon's opening movie is so meta.
Moving on.
It literally starts with them saying, all these warriors gathered together in one place, and as a result, the space-time continuum started cracking and under depression. Shit like, ooh, get it? We're acknowledging the problems. Anyway.
And the very last game of this timeline.
Well, that was the whole idea, Dwebs. The whole idea of Armageddon was to kill everybody and reboot the timeline, basically.
Also, despite being old, look at Shujinko going. The guy goes really fast for his age.
Well, don't you see, Tio, all that special training and all that stuff, like... Okay,
There you go.
Has there been any behind-the-scenes talk on... Jesus. Has there been any behind-the-scenes talk on like what exactly they wanted done with Shujinko? Or like, what was the mentality in wanting
Yes.
to make him like this old or whatnot?
Well, the only thing we know is from the videos that are included in the game, which I will show off in the extras part, where Ed
Sorry,
Boon,
do you guys have a time?
24 to 48, 49. Ed Boon's
58.
click. Anyway, Ed Boon specifically says in the video that we're gonna see later that this is the next, our next generation Liu Kang. That's all that he says. Aside from whatever they wanted to do with the story, that's the thing, Joe. But remember, despite our problems with this game, the truth of the matter is that this game was critically acclaimed and fan acclaimed back at release. You know, so people back in 2004 generally didn't really have any big issues with the game.
Wait, hold on. I get that, but notice most of my complaints have been related to Shujinko, which, as you and Tio have confirmed, even with the positive reception this game didn't get, Shujinko did not get positive reception because, well,
basically,
he didn't exactly come back.
Deteriorated quickly over time.
Yeah.
This is arguably one of the problems with the story mode here, and I can see why people may not have criticized it that much because, well, they probably didn't focus on the story mode as much.
Not even that, Jova. It's more simple than that. Back in the day, this was one of the very few and first examples of a fighting game that had a story mode with this big and with this production value behind it. Most of the others only had like either minor things or the arcade endings to go with.
Hey Tio, how many people do you think missed out on it because they didn't want to bother with what was essentially a glorified tutorial mode?
I wouldn't be too surprised if it was like similar to that, Jova, but kind of the opposite in the sense that they were overwhelmed by how much tutorializing for each character there was. And like, okay, no.
Like, again, like, it's such a weird thing to have your big meaty story mode.
Yes, the weird spot. Sorry.
Oh god, be confined to, well, pretty much the side bit.
There you go, we just defeated Otaro, and now we got the Orderrealm Kamidogu.
I think it's the last MacGuffin.
Yes, we are now ready. Oh, there you go.
Ready to...
With the help of your assassin, yes. I do not understand how you could condone such an action. Are these the methods of the...
Because I'm an assassin,
Oh, sweet
you
summer child,
dipshits.
the other gods do worse.
That's why I got it mixed up.
But yeah, Dwebs, I have to ask, what happened? Did you, since Shujinko has been screwing up the timeline, you've decided to just arrest him for years? Because that sounds like, because that sounds like that shit felt like a Dwebs written shift.
Shujinko, you fucking didn't.
Wow!
Oh, yes.
My god! Shujinko, can you get any more stupid?
It's not that, Jova.
Well, Pedro...
Hold on, Dwebs, hold on. Let them finish.
Stupidity isn't a crime.
Sure.
You were saying to you?
Again, this story is a story that works on paper with the idea that Shujinko has his journey and then arrives at this point and reflects on his action. But in actual execution, every single action that he did was completely mindless. He didn't stop and reflect much upon them.
That's why I asked.
And when we arrive at the end, he's like, oh, I actually did grow inside anyway.
No, you didn't. That's why I asked, can you get any more stupid? Because like I said, if anything, he got dumber with age instead of wiser.
Yeah.
Again, great job helping Shao. Again, great job helping Shao Kahn of all people rise to power. And again, supposedly this is all part of some big plan to help him save the world by the time of Mortal Kombat 6. So, what does this mean that the Elder Gods foresaw all the crap in Mortal Kombat 5 happening and thought, you know what, we'll let it happen, but we'll train this doofus to fix things after
I think you're about to have an answer, Jova.
Yeah, you're about to get your answer, Jova. Well, actually, no, hold on. There's,
we're still missing one.
Never mind. Actually, there's one more MacGuffin. Don't worry, Jova. In the next part, you'll get your answer. Let's just say, Jova, Damashi. Let's just say Damashi's not telling us everything for now.
Gee, the Elder Gods being shady.
All right, so let's see what's
What realm are we missing for the McAfee?
Well, to obviously Edenia.
Remember, this time it wasn't. It hadn't been yet assimilated with our outer realm. Even though we're by now we're in the events of the alliance, so it should be. What the fuck?
maybe this is after the alliance already at this point.
Okay, I genuinely don't remember if after the defeat of Shao Kahn, Edenia gets restored or not, but I don't think so.
This game is legit a mess lore-wise.
Revealed to me the true significance of the Kamidogu. After all these years of searching, I feel I am owed an explanation.
It will serve to emphasize the importance of your quest. I will tell you what I can.
Okay. How kind of you.
Creation of reality. The Elder Gods use them to split the consciousness of the one being into what we know as the realms.
Basically, the Elder Gods did the Big Bang with gemstones.
Before the creation of the realms,
Really?
only the Elder Gods and the one being. The one being fed off the Elder Gods. It consumed them.
Wait, what?
Timeless void has 6 Elder Gods forged the Kamidogu.
Excuse me?
Them to splinter the one being into the many realms.
So let me get this straight. Hold on, I'll wait till this is over.
Because there was no one else to ask.
As you know. we know this information. What did you have to repeat that?
Okay, that's my headcanon. The Elder Gods were trying to find someone else, but either he or she was dead, so they had no choice but to ask this guy. Because they couldn't think of anyone better.
Like the information that you need is better. The next Kamidogu is in this in possession of this guy, and I believe it's in the. Why did you need to do the as you know bit?
I love Shujinko's animation. The Kamidogu must be really powerful. Raise my arms. And but anyway, so let me get this straight. The Big Bang of the Mortal Kombat multiverse is what is this? The Elder Gods and the One Being, and there were no gods at this point. The One Being was apparently this thing that wanted to
parasite.
They wanted to consume the Elder Gods. So the Elder Gods said bad One Being, bad, and then they split the One Being into various realms.
It's a process similar to what Joe Jones mentioned about the first light splitting into a different lantern core.
It's okay. Well, there you go. Which begs the question, where was Chronica when this was happening?
Well, she is one of the Elder Gods, so
yeah, that's true.
I guess she was one of the responsible for it.
Okay, so basically, once again, this is all Chronica's fault. Okay.
Even in the new timeline, the One Being is still referred, but only in a very vague terms. So I guess there's still room for talking about this thing in later games. So, but we're not here for this. So see you for when we get to the McGuffin.
The final part. See you for the final part, everybody.